Shogato's not giving me enough money. Everything, we don't have enough time. Who's going to watch it? Jim and Ishwak, are they the right people to be? So I approach, everything is horrible. So yeah.
Is Abhay the right
Thankfully,
person
you
to
didn't
make
say
it?
bad actors.
Is Abhay the right person to write
Is
it?
Abhay, that
But
I was
after,
certain about.
but after
That-
saying
that-
all of that, he got Jim and Ishwak, and
Yeah.
he supported Abhay, and he ended up making probably the best Indian show. So,
Yeah, but
to come
so,
to
I mean,
whether we were worried,
jokes
of course
apart.
we were worried. What were you thinking? You're making a show about two scientists, science and history, right? We were worried that it could become a documentary. It could become just a hagiography. And I think these are the conversations that Nikhil and I had very often. And of course, he said that he's pessimist, but he ends up making it, making up for it when the scripts come in.
You know, going by the stuff that's coming out from MA, I think the pessimism is then working, right? Oh, we have Sid here. Hi. Hi.
Sid Roy Kapoor, ladies and gentlemen, give it up.
This handsome man is Siddharth Roy Kapoor. Very, very handsome.
I think, yeah, Aditya should be worried now. Aditya, his job is in danger. Aditya's job is in
I
danger.
guess I have to take this ragging because I came late. Fine, thank you.
Sid, we started the session saying that, when you guys started to make this show, did you ever think that it would get this perfect landing that it did?
Firstly, sorry for being late. No, I have to admit we had no idea that it would turn out to be what it has. From the time Nikhil and I started discussing the things that we could work on together, to then chatting with Shogato and, the gang at Sony about making this happen, and then, of course, bringing this brilliant team on board. It's been quite a journey, and there's no way that you can anticipate that it'll turn out to be something that becomes so sort of iconic, the way it has. But I guess the inception of it was a time when we knew we were talking about something special. And if we were able to pull it off the way that we would have liked to, which thankfully happened because of Abhay and Jim and Ishwak and the incredible cast and crew that he finally assembled, then we knew it would be special. But it's always a hope, right? It can never be this is definitely going to happen.
So this one is for the creators. When you're telling a show that is primarily about the men who are instrumental in changing the future of our country, and while they're writing history, the crux of the show is primarily history and science, and there's always a risk that it might sound like a documentary, right? So what do you think really worked for the show?
Hi, hello everyone. I think when we started writing the show in 2020, in the middle of the lockdown, the best and I think the only sort of piece of advice that Nikhil Advani gave me was that you're making rocket boys, you're not making rocket men. Show these people as people who can falter, people who are not perfect, people who can make mistakes, learn from them, people who can fall in love, fall out of love, people who can, don't just show them as cardboard cutouts of these famous personalities, because the moment you tend to do that, I think that's something that we do a lot in our biopics, that we tend to put them on a pedestal and then we can't show them doing anything wrong. I think one of the things that worked the best for the show was that we showed these people as faulty and people who could make mistakes. I was just thinking about it the other day, and I was discussing with Jim as well, that we shot for about 115, 116 days. Both the seasons were shot together. And while there were days where we used to feel overwhelmed by these men, and there was a sequence where the first nuclear reactor is being launched, or the first rocket is being launched, and incredible moments. Indira Gandhi comes into power. Some of the most historic moments in Indian history, and we used to feel overwhelmed. But there were also days where me and Jim used to constantly joke about, there's a sequence where Homi Bhabha is running in a tunnel, and we used to think about, and the lights are going on and off. And we used to think that, what if Homi Bhabha is running with a fat suit and no clothes on? Or the first poster that should come out of this show should be of Vikram Sarabhai and Homi Bhabha kissing, because it's essentially a love story. I think that's I think the fact that we always, all of us, while during the making of the show, never looked up to these people as the ultimate people who could do no wrong. Always thought of them as, relatable people, boys of college who, I'm an engineering student myself. So I could write in those moments, hopefully,
And
that
sorry, huh?
help me. Yeah.
The thing about the Rocket Boys, Rocket Men, the idea of the boyhoodness means it's not a finished work. It's a work in progress. It's people moving towards who we now know they are historically. But moment to moment, they are just solving problems. They do not know what their legend will be. They are just people trying to solve problems that day to the best of their abilities. And I think we really ran with that. And one of the other things that we ran with is this, not taking yourself too seriously. Because I have found that the people I look up to the most, people that other people might think are great even within their time, 9 times out of 10, they don't take themselves seriously at all. They're very open and welcoming with their help. They can laugh at themselves. They aren't burdened by the insecurities of fruitless striving.
Also, then there is a proper arc to the characters as well. If you show these people as boys and then finally you see them become who they are. So there's a difference in the way these characters are portrayed in season 1 and season 2. We've seen them grow. We've seen, like, one of the reasons why, I'm from that generation where I grew up watching Harry Potter. The reason why we love Harry Potter so much is because we grew with Harry Potter. So exactly that. When we see characters growing, when we see an arc, we always feel for them more. And I think that was one of the reasons why it worked, I believe, I think.
Yeah, in the sense that I think hello? I think the important thing was that, in our initial discussion, Abhay and myself said we were very clear that even Shaugato, we were discussing, how do, I have to give credit on this platform to Shaugato, who basically had heard it when he was in an earlier avatar and then remembered and said that, listen, who's taken that as yet? Nobody's taken it, I'm taking it. Right? It was one of the first things that Sony Dev picked up. And we were very clear. We don't want to make us, we don't treat, Ishwak and Jim should not treat Vikram Sarabhai as Dr. Sarabhai, and they should not treat Dr. Homi Baba as Dr. Homi Baba. They should treat my Homi and Vikram. And it was very easy with, actually the tone was, I remember, the tone was set, Sid, you were not there. The tone was set by, in a meeting that Abhay and I had with Jim. The first time we met Jim Sarab in my office, and we were ready to pitch the show to him. And we gave him a 25-30 minute pitch about, so this is the show that we're making, and Homi is going to be this and Homi is going to be that.
The original performances, I think all the performances in the show were great. And as an actor, you want to be inspired by that, but you don't want to have to I didn't want to re-look at it. I didn't want to go back to it again and again. I felt like Sandeep and the writers had done enough to make it their own, to adapt it. And I think that's one of the things that people are noticing a lot about the show. It feels like it's not a copy-paste job, that's an understatement. I think they've really managed to make it feel completely grounded over here and made it feel fully realized to the Indian subcontinent. And for me, I had enough stuff on the page to draw from, and by virtue of just staying true to what he and the writers gave me, it ended up being different. But I didn't approach it with that as the thing in the forefront of my mind.
But still, Tom Hiddleston, big shoes. So how were you intimidated?
Big shoes, absolutely big shoes, but not something that, as actors, we have enough stuff to lose sleep over. You're jumping on set in front of 200 people every day, trying to, do your stuff. It's tough as it is. So the idea, I think, as much as you can, is to declutter and to try and remove as much as the unnecessary anxieties that are not going to serve you in any way. I was completely cognizant of the fact that this was a very, the titular role and so on and so forth, and there was a lot to do. But yeah, I had enough stuff to make me anxious. I didn't have to think about Tom,
Great. I want to talk to Shobita, but I'll first get to Sandeep because it has something to do with this. In terms of adaptation, these changes that you made, and Sridhar is not here, so maybe you can enlighten us. What was the most important thing that you thought you have to deviate from the original to adapt it to the Indian audiences? Do you, when we are making shows in India, is there a need to say, this is black, this is white? This guy is good, this guy is bad. Because conventionally, we don't see Mr. Kapoor do anything evil in the show, right? Like he's a charming man, he's just being charming. So, and we are still supposed to believe he's dangerous and diabolical and he's villainous and all that. But mostly we've seen in Indian movies or Indian shows, there's a clear hero, villain, black, white, which is not all that clear in your show. So what was the thinking behind the adaptation part of it for India?
Hi, everyone. Firstly, I know we've been talking of the writers a lot, so that's Sridhar, Akshat, Shantanu. Also, I have a co-director, Priyanka, who are not here. So, of course, we are talking on behalf of everyone. I think, first of all, this is a very exciting panel for all of us to be here because we are talking to peers, people who have probably been in similar shoes, who probably understand the troubles of adaptation. There are many a pitfalls, many a slip between the lip and the cup here. I think there were two viewpoints which we approached this from. One was when you doing an adaptation. This is the second time I'm doing an adaptation. The first time was season 1 of Arya, which I was the co-creator on. And in both the cases, the question we were asking ourselves is, why are we adapting it? And how do we make this story feel like it's coming from our heart and our land? This was the key question. ये कहानी क्यों हमारी है? Why not just dub it in Hindi and watch it? You know, they're great actors in any case, right? You know, why would you just do that? Why would you want to see Anil Kapoor, Shobita, Adi do it? It has to come from our own point of view to the world. And somewhere the thing which we went by is like, what are the things which we think we can change to make it more Indian, more us? Better or worse is for everyone to judge. But for example, the opening episode, the question we always asked ourselves is, what makes a regular guy or a regular girl, anyone who, like one of us, having a everyday job, turn around a life and become a spy? Right. And the question is, it has to be the John Le Carre or even the original writers of the British show. They all went by the idea that it is love. But we thought, what is deeper than love? And we thought guilt. एक 14 साल की बच्ची जब मर जाती है, the guilt of that will weigh heavier on your soul than anything else. So we took a lot of calls based on a very unpopular line, which I'll say, कि हम like when they asked me whether I want to work on this adaptation, I said there are more things I want to change than the things I want to retain. So are you sure you want to retain me then? You know. And yet at the same time, across the world or anywhere where I've traveled, or including this set, there were many fans of the show. You know, many people who love the show. You know, despite the same thing which I see as a flaw, someone else sees it as a bahut acha tha. So the approach to that has been I would say, the joy which me and Sridhar had to tackle. Some places we've absolutely followed our gut. Some places we've said, I think this is an audience winner. Let's just allow it to float and see how it feels. But even after the writing, through the whole process of our workshops with the actors, and now I know workshop is an often abused term, but genuinely in this one, the amount of time Adi, Shobita, Anil sir and everyone, Tilotama, everyone spent on the character. Like Anil sir, he doesn't talk about it. He has a Lal diary. Okay? When you go to his house for a discussion, randomly he's called you at like 7:30 saying, Acha, Sandeep, you up? There's a message aayega aapko. Sandeep, you up? And you said, yes sir. Of course you're not up. Your phone has just buzzed. And he said, come see me. I have something to chat about. Can you come over? And you don't know what is going to come. And you reach his house, like Lal diary aati hai. And it's written all these questions of character. Who's this character? Where does he come from? Why is he saying this line? Why this? I said, homework karke aana padega to answer it. So everyone's really put in a lot of their heart and made it their own. Like Rungta, the last name. It came through a discussion with sir. We had named it something else, and then AK said, you know, the name has to feel more specific, more interesting. The idea of making it shipping, all of that came through various discussions with Adi. You're talking of the way we found the tone of character. We tried so many different things with it, and all of it came from Adi. None of it came from Tom or how the thing. It came from the material. How was he looking at it? And somewhere we found a stride and said, okay, let's just go with it. And as Sir says, sometimes you feel character समझ में आता है show खत्म होने के बाद, release होने के बाद. But sometimes you feel it in your heart in an instant. You feel like ये है, इसको पकड़ के रखो, इसको मत छोड़ो. So most of our conversations which me and Aditya always used to have between each schedule will be, Aditya, don't change anything. Don't change anything. I remember so many calls I would just say, Adi, change nothing. And since Shobita is here, our process with Shobita is beautiful. I'm happy he's given the mic to me first, because once she takes the mic, you're going to be mesmerized with her answers. I think me and AK keep saying, Arey yaar, Shobita is on the panel. We should speak first. But the way she really explores the character so well. So one of our journeys has been just asking questions to each other. I said answers we'll find on screen. No, let's not answer it in words. So it's been a process, yeah. When you say, how did me and Sridhar adapt it? Well, we did, but I think all of us did. Eventually, it became a beast of its own, which we were no longer trying to control it. Over to Shobita.
Yeah, Shobita, I'm really glad you're here, because without you, this is a manel. It's just men talking. And also, I'm really glad that...
Nobody would have taken up pictures also. Can I share something? Yes, very interesting, because there are a lot of people from the industry and media aware. So I was in London very quickly, and we were promoting Slumdog Millionaire. So I was sitting with the team of Pathe. And he says, kya hai? Even if the President Obama, if he comes alone, there won't be so many photo ops. He might be on the second or third page, but if he comes with his wife, there'll be, it'll be a front page news. So, हमने बोला यार photo तो आनी चाहिए सब जगह, शोभिता का होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And she speaks so well, even Michelle speaks so well. So over to you, our Michelle Obama.
Shobita, I'm glad you exist, because what you've done to the landscape is that you play a lot of South Indian characters. Here, your name is Kaveri in this. So also you embrace your accent, and here you play a woman with mystery, right? There's so little we get into her real self, because she says, I don't want to see anyone, I don't want anyone to see me cry. So how did you approach this? How do you create mystery about this character who the audience is not supposed to know too much about, but slowly discover who she is? Because you get very little footage, and in that you need to capture it. So how do you approach this as an actor, and your whole persona, real life persona, becoming the character?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is such an august gathering, so many intelligent people, and with my team saying all these nice things about me, I'm absolutely terrified about sounding like an idiot. I mean, Kaveri is a river in the south, but I don't think that has any connection to me playing someone from south in this. It's not tied up. I think the connection with the name has more to do with water and what it represents. Water can be still, but it can be very deep, and so often the currents can change from day to night. Her life is very turbulent, much like water, but there's also it's serene. So we thought there was an interesting parallel, and I really liked the name. I thought it represents her quite beautifully. As for I don't look at characters in terms of how much footage they have. I don't think it's the most significant thing at all. In the larger arc of the character, there are a lot of answers. Answers should not be given, they should be arrived at, is what I feel. And I feel like with her character, we know and we see as much as we need to. And sometimes you want to lean a little bit closer to hear her better, to know what lies simmering beneath the surface. And I think that's really nice writing. So I didn't feel the need for more. It was enough. And I don't think mystery is created. I think when you say as much as you have to, and I guess it's not a blabbering character, so it was easy to retain that. And much credit to the way it was written, the way it was shot, and the way the primary characters interact with her. So how you are with me is very different from how you are with your partner, your parent, your friend. But the minute one sees you in all these perspectives, they get a better understanding of who you are, right? But if Kaveri is seen only from the perspective of her lover, her partner, and from this special creature, you don't really know her from any other perspective. So maybe holding back is what gives her that mystery.
So in these workshops, I'm very curious to see how did you crack the characters in the course of this workshop in terms of interpersonal relationships between the characters. Like, for example, between you and Aditya, how did you say, what is the level of bromance that you would have? Like, was that part of the workshop? Was it part of the script? How did you arrive at like a chemistry? Because it's about, you're the antagonist, he's the protagonist, and you both needed to have a chemistry because the relationship is again interestingly phrased as Ravan and Vibhishan. So it's almost like he could have been your brother, right? So how do actors interpret that sort of chemistry from the script and like say, this is how we're going to do it? How much intimacy is the right chemistry?
I think horses for courses. I mean, I don't think there's any one right way. I think the way that Sandeep approached, I think Anil sir's and my equation on screen is I don't think we met at all. Yeah. I think he preferred it for us to just get there on set. And of course, I think Anil sir and me were I was fortunate enough to work with Anil sir on Malang. So we had worked before. And I think that's why Sandeep felt confident enough that we had that professional understanding was already there. And that it might have been better for the characters to just kind of meet in the moment, right, Sandeep?
I think the way we approached it is like it's a boxing match. There are two boxers, and both need to prepare individually. So AK sir and we would prepare his whole world of friends, family. So AK sir would have his workshop with Shobita, with Dada, Saswata. While his workshop was the only little thing which we did. Of course, we had moments with the girl,
just a little bit with Safina,
with Safina, and very little with Nasir, with Tilotama.
With Tilotama, yeah.
So the idea was it was preparation of two different worlds, and then see them both explode when they both meet. You know, both don't know what the other's prepping for. You know, so it's theoretically beautiful. I hope it works on screen and it looks good.
I think one thing that was also interesting was that we ended up workshopping a couple of sticky scenes, stuff that we were not so sure of, that I think we really benefited from the workshop process by going in there and exploring those scenes. And it helps so much when you're not on the clock and the whole world doesn't depend on that working on that day. And that's one learning that I had, that, I mean, it's all very well to workshop, but it's important to know how to workshop. And I think that's something that I learned from Sandeep on this, because we were able to explore scenes uninhibited and finally, at least if not find it, get closer to the answer after those experiences.
So your character has no reason to hate him, right? But his character has enough history, like, because he knows what you did. But you have no reason, at least in the first 4 episodes, to hate his character. Your character has no reason. So you're obviously there's a certain warmth with which you're approaching the role. You're not treating him like an outsider in the first place. You're in fact doing the opposite. You are like including him more and more into the family. So how does it work? Like, because you know that your character has done something extremely horrible to him because you've read the script. And yet, on screen, the audience shouldn't be aware of the history. You should let him into your life. You should be welcoming. How did you plan that out? Because he's not going to give you back your positivity because his character is not going to allow him to give that positivity back.
He's given 2 mics to Shobita. Sandeep, he's always been very partial. When he hugs her for quite a few minutes. With me, he just shakes his hand. Oh, we're given 2 mics also, huh? You know, I think my mind was there. Obviously, you know, this character, Shailendra Rungta, is a gambler. He goes with instinct. And he trusts people. But still, trusts them easily. And the way I imagine, वो किसी को मिलता है, किसी को देखता है और बोलता है यार इसमें कुछ बात है. There is something about it. And that's what I am in real life also. To a certain extent, which I could relate to, that if I've gone wrong also. I've been betrayed. You know, everybody's betrayed. You know, most of the time you're right in your instincts of people, but sometimes you go wrong. So I feel, and as you said that I've read the script, but overall when you go on the set, you don't remember the entire script. You are going, stay in the moment. And the scene given and you know, you can't remember 7 hours of the entire script, you know. It's there at the back of the mind, but you forget about it and you're in the moment. So that's the reason I'm warm, because I feel, इसमें बात है कुछ, जो है, you know, ultimately. So that's the reason that I'm nice to him and I was not feeling any kind of, it's a gambler's instinct, ये काम का आदमी है. और वो बाद में काम का नहीं निकलता वो बाद में पता चलेगा. But till that time I know that this is younger and he trusts him, he trusts his girlfriend also. But धीरे-धीरे पता चलता है कि सब गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं, you know. And this is what happens here. Why did you do this to me?
Money, it's all about money.
Huh? Just because I don't have 6 packs, huh?
So that you have.
And it's not
don't
just
do this. Next season, I'm going to have 6 packs. So I want you back.
And it's not a single point of betrayal. I think there are 2 betrayers here. Here's betrayer number 2 we haven't seen much of yet.
See, so far there's been nothing of the sort if you look at it. So I think no spoilers.
But you are
Still,
infiltrating.
There are scenes in the first part also where little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. ऐसा मत करो यार.
Okay, just to like move away from spoiler territory, I want to go back to what I was.
There's no spoilers at all.
The betrayal part could be perceived by some people.
Yes, of course, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Betrayal. You saw they were
Yeah,
near
he is
the
trying
pool,
to
near the pool
infiltrate
side. They are there. आंखों में बातें हो रही हैं.
Yeah.
What is that?
Absolutely.
आंखों में बातें.
Representation. That's what I wanted to. That's the first.
Sorry, यार. Little life में थोड़ा fun होना बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Absolutely.
Can't take everything very seriously.
Yes, yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Friends, can't make it very. Sorry.
Shobita, you forgot to, you missed that part of the question, I think, when I asked you about representation mattering, like because your identity. Do you think it's important to have your identity on screen? Like, is it relevant? Because in India, we have different cultures, right? We have so many different languages. The language changes every 100 kilometers in this country. And so when we are, so that's why I'm glad that your accent exists. And you've not made any attempt to change the way you speak or it's like, I like the fact that it is South Indian, right? Like, because I'm from Chennai, I feel represented when you're there. So I wanted to talk to you about that. Like in terms of representation, is this like a conscious part of like being part of your brand that you need to be this person authentic to your identity?
Have you heard of Tenali Raman?
Yeah.
So Tenali is a place, it exists. I'm from there.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Vizag. I speak Telugu at home. I think in Telugu. I moved to Mumbai after my high school and I speak Hindi now. It's been a good 13, 14 years in Mumbai. Another whatever. So my life, so I don't know where home is. And we are all products of the experiences we've had, but we are also products of the experiences we aspire to have. So I don't think any person represents one fixed thing. You are not just Chennai. You're also this guy sitting in Powai in a suit asking me a question. And it's very separate from the reality of North Madras. So Arey, don't clap and all, yeah. I just feel...
I told you all.
Even I said it.
I
I said
said
it
it.
first.
These guys.
That's why